My name is Hlengiwe Koza, and my business is Total Serve Facilities Management. So Total Serve is a facilities management company. We are in the built environment sector, so we currently deal with FM, so both soft and technical services as well. So it's more on the soft side. It's your cleaning, hygiene, landscaping, and horticulture. Then the technical side of the business would be your HVAC maintenance, but it's more so dealing with just the infrastructure and the built environment and maintaining and management of the business. Yes, that's true. And I mean, now post-COVID as well, there's been a far more need when it comes to FM and just the maintenance of the building, because I think in as much as we focus on just the cleanliness of the building and making sure that it's functioning properly, there's been a huge element where people have also been neglected within it. So part of FM is ensuring that people that cohabit the building are also, taken care of and their needs are met. And it's not a case of just maintaining the building for the sake of its function, but the people that utilize that business, or at least the building, they are also taken care of as well in the process. So I think that's just been a huge part of our business, where we've become very people-centered, but also the spaces that we occupy, we are taking care of them. But because, what is a building without you as well? I think once you're in a cleaner, better environment, you're also able to sort of be better as a person. You're able to think better. So I think that's just obviously where we are right now, post-COVID, is we are also putting ourselves first when it comes to everything that, we're doing. So I guess our primary focus is, as I said, it's people and the spaces that you occupy, and making, or at least changing the focal point as to making things very functional, but adding a very soft element to the spaces that we occupy, and making sure that we are comfortable and we're feeling healthy and safe in those environments. So my education, actually, I'll say I found myself in the built environment space, or at least the property space, because it's not what I studied. I have a BBA in marketing management. I've had a passion really for, I think, overall business and growth, and delving into new things. And so I can't say I've primarily been interested in buildings, but I've taken a keen interest in just property and the built environment as a whole, and everything that, we sort of utilize. And I guess the big element of our business, or just being in business actually, is delving into different spaces, but also challenging myself. And I think this is why I love the space that I'm in. I have been able to sort of stretch myself. And again, we're very in a male-dominated space as well. So the challenges that one has, sort of be able to face, if I can say that, it has stretched me in a whole lot of ways, where I'm challenging the status quo of a lot of things, where I'm able to poke holes on a lot of things. And one of the spaces as well that has not really been, I'll say, destabilized, is the built environment sector. And so I think one now is in a very good position to dismantle the type of thinking and the structure, and how it is that we do things within the space and the property space, because we know that outside of just being male dominated, it's technical thinking. And technical thinking that has not incorporated, I'll say, the soft elements, and just making sure that, are we doing things for the sake of doing them? It's very structured. So you deal with your architects, your engineers, and so we know those people to be very structured. They design things for the sake of their functions. But are we actually looking at the softer elements of what it is that we are building, so that we are able to utilize them in a manner that, it's long-lasting but serves their purpose? And so I think it's just been one of the spaces where I've been able to stretch my thinking and delve into a whole lot of. No 2 days are the same, if I can put it that way. Today you're in engineering, tomorrow you're dealing with something else. And so for me, because of I'm that type of person who can't really say I'll focus on one thing, it's been able to sort of stretch my thinking, be able to grow, learn, study, different thinkings, different trains of thoughts, different ways of viewing things as well. So and I can say one is thriving, but also continuing to learn, because my thinking is just always stretched with the different minds that, sort of come together to make a property and a building. And so it's delving into those minds that has sort of kept me within the space and learn. So I think that's just, I'll say, the primary reason why we are in business and why we're in the space and why we are in the built environment, or at least the property space. It's that type of thinking. It takes a lot to make a building, and it's different trains of thoughts that you also sort of need to understand. And for that, for me, it's continually stretching me, and I'm always learning. Okay, so I'm born and bred in KwaNdengezi, which is my hometown. So my primary life was more so in Pinetown, so I went to Pinetown Junior, Pinetown Senior. And then I moved to Crawford, Lelucia, as well, so that's where my high school was. And then for varsity, I started at KZN, and then I moved to doing my BBA at IMM. So that's been sort of the nut and bolt of my journey. It hasn't really stopped there, because I've continued to obtain other qualifications. So I'm a safety officer. I'm a trained pest controller. So most of where, our space and what we focused on, I've studied for it as well. So I've studied for facilities management. And then now I'm also in a program where we delving deep into construction and construction management, project management, to sort of understand as well that technical element as well within construction, because that's where we are also just trying to shift our mind to, and not necessarily the soft side of the business and maintaining it, but more so on the construction side of things, and understand what it entails, and see as well how we can fit ourselves in that space. Yeah, as I said, because of, one sort of picks an interest on a daily basis within the type of space that we're in. And so I'll say I'm very frustrated when I don't understand something. So, and then hence, I guess my thrill of having to seek out that knowledge of, okay, this is frustrating me. I want to know more about it. I want to understand the thinking behind it. And then I think from there on, you'll be able to sort of be able to find other approaches to tackle things and some of the challenges as well within the space. And I think that has driven me to sort of, as I said, I think my thinking and dismantling it, I want to understand. And so I'm able to tackle it one go at a time, and I'd sort of pick a box today. What do I want to learn? What do I want to study? How do I stretch myself as well to understand the thinking behind it? And that's the primary reason why I continuously am finding something to learn. And again, next year I'll probably be studying something else. It was more of a partnership more than anything. I'll say it was a meeting of the mind and a meeting of the soul. So I don't run the business solely alone. There is a partner to the business, and I think it again meeting of the minds and meeting of the souls where we wanted the same thing, and we've been able to grow the business to where it is right now, in that manner, in that front, because of that thinking, of the ability to sort of stretch ourselves more than anything. And it's a case of learning from one another. She's an accountant by profession, which is also that technical thinking that also I don't have. And so there's also another softer element for me when how I view things. I'm more of an artist where nothing is sort of straightforward compared to her. And so we've been able to sort of find meeting ground between ourselves and grow the business to where it is. But more than anything, I think we're here because of two meetings of the mind and having the ability to sort of stretch ourselves, but dismantle as well just some of the thinking as well within just women in business. And we're showing a beautiful element of supporting each other. I think that's one of the things that we miss in business. We always think of competing, and we are competing as women. And it's a case of seeing that actually two people can do it together. And I've been shaped by beautiful women within my career and growth, and she's one of the people as well who's played an integral part in, in my journey and my thinking, and where we're going as well. A lot of people have played part and parcel of, my journey, my thinking. Even her as a partner in the business, Thandeka Mngomezulu, she's played a magnificent journey in just in terms of where we are and what it is that we're trying to do. But also as well, I think as well, I've been primarily shaped by women, from home to the different women that you meet in the industry as well. They're always there to teach you something. We are always trying to dismantle something. We're always trying to find our place in the world as well. So I think within that, I can't literally limit it to one person, but every person has something, to sort of teach me. And I'd rather embrace that opportunity more than anything than try to but rather allow it, what is this here to teach me? So I'd rather take things in that light and manner. What is this here to teach me? What are you here to teach me? And move from there. To not limit myself as well in the process, because I just might miss what it is that, I need to learn and grow from it. Sure, I can't limit it to one thing. I really can't, because in everything I'll say that I'm doing, I'm continuously stretching myself. And so maybe to be vague as well, but not also quite direct, is I'm trying to stretch myself. I'm trying to literally push my limits in everything. How far can I really push myself? How far can I push the limits? So I don't think small, that's the one thing I can tell you. And so even with, our business, I am never not thinking small. It's a case of who are the big giants in the industry? How is it that we are going to, go head by head and they are going to feel the pinch that, hey, we've got new people in the market, we've got another player and they're coming. And so it's that type of thinking that, I move and grow with. As I said, I can't really be specific and direct in terms of where my goals are and what are they, but it's a case of if I want a house, how big can it be?
Continual growth.
Yeah, it's continual growth, and there's always just going to be something that I'm going to find and focus on, and once I've achieved that, you move to the next thing. Life is ever evolving and growing, and I would not want to be someone that I put myself in that box as well, because I'd just literally be limiting my own thinking and what it is that I could truly be capable of. Some of my achievements that I've made, I think I've touched a whole lot of people's lives. We have been involved in some beautiful projects outside of work where we have a foundation called Ink Foundation. And we've been able to touch a lot of lives from that in terms of giving back, in being able to show some social impact, in being able to, more than anything, give back, because some people ask for nothing as well. And so those, I'll say, because of the lives that we've touched outside of work, that has been a big element of, I'll say, my achievements, because what am I as well if I'm not giving back to the people that make me, that also want nothing out of me as well, but rather they're grateful for that opportunity. So I'll say that has been just obviously one of the biggest achievements, but also where we are right now as a business, that is just also one of the greatest achievements that we know we've come about. It's 11 years in the industry, in the business. And so that on its own has just been an achievement. I think for my age as well, I've been able to get through a whole lot of hurdles and be able to achieve a lot in terms of where you see, people my age group and where they are being under 35, and you've grown such a magnitude business. One, we don't give ourselves enough credit when it comes to the daily runnings and managing, or at least we don't sit and look back that, wow, I've actually achieved so much, and the lives that we've touched and impacted, and the growth of this business as well is just it's so vast, because it goes beyond you when you think that someone actually says thank you because I have a job because of you. So that you can't change for anything. That gratitude, that element that in some way or form you're giving back and contributing to another person's life and growth and family. You are a part of their family and you don't even know it. And so I think that for me, and why we still remain in business, is it's those lives that we touch and we don't even know. It's those thank yous that we get that sort of keep us who we are. It's those blessings that we don't even know that because someone mentioned you in prayer, that you are still also, alive, and you're being sustained because someone said, God, thank you for this person. Because I'm where I am, I'm able to have food on my plate. I'm able to take care of my family. And that for me is enough, because it keeps me thriving from where it keeps me going. Those are the things that will, even when I say and when I rest, I can say that, okay, I can keep going. No matter how hard it is, I'll have those reminders and those silent prayers that sort of keep me going and push for the next day, push the limit, push myself, push my thinking, and showing that it's possible. Sure, there's never not a challenge. So in terms of the challenges that we face, firstly, it's being female in its most basic form, being a male-dominated industry, the type of thinking that you face. As a female, you're often they put you as an object, where, you're thinking automatically when you walk in the room, they think that you might not have anything to offer. And so because of that, it's been a continual integration of changing people's thinking, where when you walk into the room, you know that I'm not walking in as just a female, but I have to walk in terms of knowing my story, knowing myself, knowing what it is that I'm here to give back, but also to find your place on the table. As well, so that's just the first part. You continuously have to work harder than the rest, more than anything. It's trying to, it's not even trying, but it's a case of being certain, knowing that you actually have something to offer. But again, I think the big thing that, you try to change within this industry is the thinking, how people view you, how people see you, and you need to know your story. You continuously need to be 5-10 steps ahead of the next person. You need to educate yourself, but as well you need to be able to professionalize yourself more than anything. And I think that's just been one of the challenges that you face, because it's that thinking, it's what you've achieved, that you continuously need to prove that I'm capable of doing this, and having to prove those capabilities to the other person as well. And the convincing as well, because it's easy to take a male word from a female word. And so it's a case of how am I 10 steps ahead from the male next to me, and what is it that, from a technical element that is going to be straightforward and direct, that will speak without you speaking. The work needs to speak for itself. So it's that continual proving that one has sort of had to do, and what it is that we are building right now. So it's both quantitizing and quality, because we've never not had to prove the quality of our work, but we've also had to sort of quantify it as well, in ensuring that we know our story. So we've always had to be, doing research within the industry, educating ourselves. How is it that we can do things better? What is it that we need to understand, speak on, so that we know it clearly and we understand it? There's nothing worse than having to speak on something that you don't know or understand. It can quickly show. And so hence as well, we are continuously educating ourselves as well. So it's knowing our story, but knowing as well that we can do it. But as I said, it's equally hard and tiring, when you just always have to prove yourself, because you have to work 10 times harder as well. And so it's changing the faces of maybe the top ranks and changing the face of business, that we are capable, it's possible. And if you believe you can do it, you can do it just as the males are. And it's not a case of comparison as well. But it's saying that we can both equally work together. There's something I can learn from you, and there's something you can learn from me. So my advice to young women, maybe my peers, women who are older than me more than anything, is don't limit yourself. Don't limit your thinking, don't limit your capabilities. I think we carry a lot of the world's weight on our shoulders, and we forget ourselves. I think I'm just in a position and a place in life where I had forgotten myself, because I was trying to achieve a lot of things. I was trying to prove myself to the world, that I am capable. And I think it's a case of moving in that direction now, of knowing and affirming to yourself that you're enough. And so I think if you move in that light and direction, of constantly affirming yourself as opposed to looking for affirmation in the world, you'll be able to do a lot more, and you won't have to carry the weight of the world and the noise of the world that will bear you down, because you're constantly looking for that affirmation, that approval, that yes, that no. And so it's for me, it's solidifying that inner compass where you switch off the noise of the world, and affirm yourself. Give yourselves the yes, give yourselves the thank you, give yourselves the I am enough, and move lighter. I think once you're able to do that, you'll be able to sort of not limit my thinking or think of what the next person is thinking of me. And I think that will be my one biggest motivation, or at least how I'm moving and how is it that I'm able to do what I do. I don't carry the weight of the world. Know that you don't owe anything to anyone. You owe it to yourself. I think more than anything that we are not giving ourselves in terms of rest is sleep. And so that's exactly what I do. My life is very simple. It's very structured, hence my answer being very simple. If I'm not at work, I literally at home, I'm resting, I'm sleeping, and that's about it. So I sleep. you.